There's nothing wrong with man. Oh, he's dead in his trespasses and sins. He's in need of a Savior. He needs God to illumine him, and by that illumination draw him, which is happening. Now he must believe. Believe doesn't involve the will. Believe is mental. I'm being persuaded that this way and not any other way is the best way. It's the true way. Once I'm persuaded, I have new life, I have forgiveness, I have a one-way ticket to heaven, and I now have an opportunity to pursue Jesus. May not take that opportunity. That, by the way, I'm hoping that you're going to see it in the book I just sent out to you. Okay? Yes?
I'm still not on the email list.
You're what?
I'm still not on the email list. I didn't get it.
I did yours separately. You had to have gotten it.
I just looked.
It's not there.
Not there.
All right. I'll send it to you. Remind me as we get done. What I want you to do is don't worry about reading the whole thing. Just at least read a chapter or two. Just say, hey, is the point being made? Is it clear? Could it be clearer? Is it simple? Could it be simpler? Okay, just are we making the point? All right, guys. So, this is interesting. Coming back to your comment earlier, Todd, Jesus predicts Peter's imminent denials. Notice that in verse 34 and 35, when Jesus says, hey, guys, I want you to love one another, because it's important that the world sees your relationship together, because when they see that, said, you guys have something among yourselves that I'd like to be involved in. Peter's not hearing that at all. That just went right over his head. What he's interested in is, what is this, you're going somewhere? And I can't go? Oh, let's revisit that, Jesus. And so Jesus, he says, I will lay down my life with you to go wherever it is. Now, I skipped ahead. I wanted to make a point. When Jesus says he's going to the Father, actually, he doesn't say that yet. He says he's going away. And Peter says, I want to go too. What's in his mind? Staying on the earth, going wherever Jesus is going. When he talks in just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and get ahead of myself. When he talks in a minute about going to the Father's house, what's Peter thinking?
His house is on earth.
Huh?
His house is on the earth.
The temple.
What? The temple.
The kingdom.
Duh.
Oh, okay.
If believers got together today and said, hey, I'm going to go to God's house, what do you think we would be talking about?
Heaven. Church.
Huh?
Heaven.
Church.
No.
And so Jesus is saying, I'm going to the Father. Oh, where's the Father? He's in the temple, isn't he? That's his house. It was built for God. They're not thinking about going away to heaven. That's why Peter says, why in the world can't I go with you? I'm not following this. He said, well, Peter, I'm not talking about anything on the earth at this point. I'm talking about going actually to heaven where my Father is on the throne. Yes, he has a presence in the temple, but I'm not talking about that. But that's not what Peter took him to mean. Peter said, see, if it's on the earth, why can't I go? I don't understand. Well, where I'm going, you can't come now, but you're going to come later, Peter. Verse 36 says that plainly in those words. But that's not enough for Peter. Peter doesn't want any time lapse. If Jesus goes to right now, he wants to go right now. He said, I would even lay down my life for you to go with you right now. And Jesus says, oh, really? Now, the point I want to make is, look at the confidence that Peter had in his own strength and ability. I would lay down my life. I'm going where you're going. And Jesus says, you don't know the weakness of your own soul. Guys, someone tell me, anybody know what 1 Corinthians 10:13 says? It says, no temptation has
seized man other than what God has allowed.
You know the truth. No temptation overcome you that's not common to man, and with the temptation God is faithful to provide a way of escape that you may be able to endure it. What's verse 12 say? Everybody quotes and memorizes verse 13.
You won't be tempted beyond what you can.
Well, that's verse 13.
Okay.
Verse 12 says, beware, you who think you stand, lest you fall. Interesting. That's what Peter needed to hear right then. Peter, you think you're going to stand. You're not. You're going to fall. You're going to fall 3 times before the cock crows. Once again, just like he was in the boat during the storm and Jesus came walking to him on the 3rd watch of the night, when's Peter deny Jesus? 3rd watch of the night. Peter needed a curfew badly during his lifetime. He kept staying up later than he should have, kept getting in trouble in those late hours. Think about it. Didn't David do the same thing? When David looked over the rooftop down on Bathsheba, where was he supposed to be? He should have been at battle. It was the time when kings went out to war. What's he doing in the palace? Yeah, you know, be careful, guys. You let your guard down, you think you're invincible, and that's when Satan hits you. And a lot of times, it's not recoverable as far as reputation goes. But God's grace, God gave David not only back the reputation, but had written in the New Testament, here's a man after my own heart who did all my will. Whoa. That's Acts 13:22. So Peter thinks he's going to stand. I'm suggesting to you that's what some approaches to the Bible do. They describe the Christian life as something that's so automatic, that's so in God's hands, that it can't help but happen. I think that teaching puts more confidence in the flesh. Of course, they don't see it that way. They see it as God providing the strength, God providing the life, God. And so when God provides that, obviously good things are going to happen. Then why isn't it consistent? Is God really that arbitrary? Even in our own lives? Guys, I suggest to you that the problem is us. We be the problem. Problem isn't God. If he wanted to, he could keep me from sinning ever again. By his own sovereign power, just intervening. It's not the time for that. That's going to happen when I go to heaven. He's going to keep me from ever sinning again. But right now, I've got to live with a fallen nature that pulls me away from walking with God every day on every situation. Am I depending or am I being independent? If I'm dependent upon the power and resources of God, I'm in a good place. If I'm depending upon my wisdom, my training, my goodness, my virtue, my anything, I'm in a bad place.